Welcome to 2 on the 10.
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing this week?
Good. Hello.
Hello. I'm Paul.
This is Mitch.
Greedy Nick.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the 2 on the 10, baby.
2 on the 10 podcast.
Hey, man.
Can I just say before we begin, after episode 1, I had people back home, from the Bay Area originally. They had, back home, I'm from the 707, say it backwards. They were like, hold on a second, why are we standing behind a Biggie Smalls mural? So, and don't get me wrong, I love Big. I'm a big music fan regardless, but I felt that this is necessary for today's show. So we got to represent for the West Coast.
Pockany 40.
Say that you got it all.
Hey, doesn't mean I don't love Pac too, We know where we at.
2 on the 10 don't love Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Oh, speaking of rap, holy crap. Your boy,
Was that a rap?
Tekashi 6ix9ine, Mitch.
Hey, my boy, that's Greedy Nick's boy.
He's in the news again, man, getting beaten up at LA Fit. What is going on there? This cat's running around town talking about, he doesn't need his security. He doesn't need no security or nothing like that, man. Getting your ass whooped at the gym, I think you needed some security, boy.
Man, I'll tell you, I'm kind of torn between this because part of me was like, he needed his ass whooped. Okay, real talk for a second. You put that kind of energy out in the atmosphere and in the environment, it will get back to you. I promise. Somewhere or another, this world or the next, you put that kind of energy, that negative energy out there, taunting, and that's how you make your money, being that troll, that rainbow bright troll, But you put that energy out there, it's going to come back to you. As far as seeing him get his ass whooped, getting jumped in the sauna type thing or whatever it was. First of all, LA Fitness, man, that was so 2000s. That was really 2000s. People still go to LA Fitness?
Shoot. Hey, we got Mountainside out here, Lifetime. There's a little bit better than, better gyms out here than LA Fit.
And he pulls up, I guess, with no security in the rainbow bright Lamborghini SUV.
He's just asking for it, man. Just asking for it.
Yeah, like for a second, obviously I'm the conspiracy dude, right? It almost seems staged, but I don't know, man. Like those 3 dudes, that big dude could have really put some hurting on him. I think they either gave him a message, and then what was up with the other dude stomping him in Crocs?
Hey, snitches get stitches, bro.
I know the Bay Area, shout out back home, the youngsters and the baby all on Crocs, I know my boy LaRuss will be wearing Crocs, but stomping a dude in Crocs, okay, hey.
Yeah, they go to the gym in Vans,
That's the ultimate insult when you get beat up by somebody in Crocs.
Right. This is just crazy. Like I said, the culture right now is just wild. Everything's going on in the world is wild right now. I don't know if you saw what happened down in Nashville.
Who didn't?
Man, thoughts and prayers go out to the family before we get into this.
Yeah. Before we even touch on that, seriously, thoughts, prayers. Can't even imagine. Can't even imagine
what the families are going through. But you have a 28-year-old girl. Aubrey Hill. Comes in, kills 6 people, 3 of them children. I just couldn't have. I couldn't imagine. Getting that phone call. As a parent, talking about my. I just sent my son and my daughter to school, and now they're dead. Man, what possesses you to feel like you need to take somebody else's life? It's I don't know. It's baffling to me.
Well, first of all, does it really matter if the person was trans or whatever they were? I feel like these headlines right now are agenda grabbing. I feel like there's agendas behind these. Not saying this stuff didn't happen and not going there whatsoever. That's insensitive to even say that. But I've read a lot on this, seen a lot on this. There's a lot of people talking, and it's just interesting. Why shouldn't it just be some effed up person in the head went into this school that had an agenda with the school? No, it's got to be a trans person, And I just feel like they're pushing the lines. The powers that be are pushing these lines. It's not the first one. I guess there's about 3 others, so far that's hit the news in the last, few months. Right. And then, I'm not going to speak on this show today because we're going to need a lot more time and more sensitivity for something like that.
Right.
But I mean, it's interesting. I mean, Takashi hits the set. You know, the headlines dressed like Rainbow Bright. I mean, there's an agenda. You know, that whether that had anything to do with shooting, I'm not saying that. But why the headlines a trans person?
Well, I mean, in this case, is it a bullying issue? Is it a mental issue, or is it a gun control issue?
I think it's, you know, you knock out all birds with one stone, you know?
Right.
I think it's a little bit of everything. I mean, again, not saying any position on that. I'm just saying I think you bring this up for the debate, people divide, and I think that's where everything, you know, where they want us to be is divided, arguing with each other, while everything else happens behind the scenes. You know?
I got you. I mean, but it speaks to, you know, the gun culture that we have here in America. We have more mass shootings than anybody in the whole world, which is, you know, it says a lot to itself. Now, you know, I'm not.
We also have more people in prison than anybody else in the whole world, and those prisons are profitable.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, somebody's profiting off these deaths. Somebody's profiting off these, you know,
Even the guns,
you know,
I mean,
so-
the ammo.
Yeah.
Nah. Here's what's crazy. Our prison systems are privately funded for profit, just like our money system is. I mean, we'll talk about that for another show again. But again, that's what's crazy.
Yeah, let's you know.
Let's get back on the subject.
Yeah, let's get back. You know, let's talk about something a little bit lighter. You know.
Oh, well, real quick before we jump on that, let's just say on that shooting though. Here's another thing. Okay, well, first of all, the police, how they responded to that.
Right.
I mean, they supposedly identified the shooter and took the shooter down. And I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't know what to say. He, her, it. You know, either way, it's dead.
Right.
So, and you know what? I don't give a shit because if you take out little kids and you take out innocent people and teachers, fuck you. Period.
True that, man.
That's my stance, and it'll never change on that.
Okay.
But, you know, I guess I'm glad to see the situation where the police seem to have it in hand to, you know, 2 minutes supposedly, compared to the situation where, you know, in Texas by the border, where it seemed like either they were afraid, they were told to stand down, all this other stuff. What do you guys feel on that real quick?
I mean, I think there's definitely something there when you look at a poor border town school on the Texas-Mexican border compared to this fancy private school. Maybe there's a little more urgency to save. And I hate to say that, everybody, you know, should matter equally, but in our society, it's not necessarily that way. And it's kind of sad that, you know, maybe there was a push like, hey, these are people in a private school paying for it. It looked like a really nice, well-to-do school. Maybe there's a little more urgency by it or with the response than there, you know, would be at a poor school in a border town.
Yeah, and I know they got the body cam out super quick.
Fast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super
exactly.
fast. You know, so you know.
Less than a day. The cam footage is out.
Yeah, I mean, is that
I've
by
never seen
coincidence? You know, is that by coincidence, or is that just great police work? Where, hey, I want to diffuse the situation. Let's get this cam out so we can, you know, did all this noise.
I mean, again, we're not going to stand here and say we're the experts. This is our opinion. This is our show. But like my opinion on that, probably a little bit of everything. I talked to a few cop friends on this, and they were blown away, saying that 2 minutes to identify the shooter, and you know, and then be able to take them out is insane, amazing. And 2, to already have the video footage from the cam already released. Now, my own thoughts are, well, you know, Tennessee's got a lot of issues with video cams. I mean, you know, first of all, the Nichols situation, you know, the effed up situation that happened in Memphis. And I know it's Memphis, this is Nashville, but I'm just saying that took a little while, a few days for the body cam to come out. And then what I find very ironic is this, you know, Tennessee was voting last April, I believe, in 22, to try and limit and not have the public have access to the cam recordings, which I guess got voted down. So to have that in a vote for the state and then to have this released within 12 hours, just very interesting. You know, I mean,
you know, I just think they're trying to, you know, settle down the public and have more transparency. You know, like I said, I got to take my hats off to, you know, Nashville Police Department. 'Cause-
without a doubt, they're doing something that I'm going to be honest, I could never do. I could never do. Although I will say, in watching the video, not even trying to be funny, the dude pushing everybody in the back, that would have got on my nerves in that situation.
All right, yeah, I hear you. All right, well, let's talk about something lighter now. Let's talk about the NCAA. Oh my goodness, man, this has been one of the best NCAA's I've seen in a while, as far as
Agreed.
Upsets. This was the first time that no number one seed has ever made it to the Elite Eight, which is crazy. I don't know. I was talking to you the other day about the reasoning behind it. I think this NIL situation where these kids can get more money from going to these so-called lower tier schools is making it's this
Balancing the field?
Yeah, balancing the field, and you're seeing a positive impact. I mean, you have what, 2 number 5 teams with Miami and what's that? Those 2 5 seeds are Miami and
Who's the other 5 seed?
San Diego.
San Diego State.
Yeah, San
That's
Diego
the team I'm rooting for.
Yeah, and then you got Florida Atlantic and UConn on it, at number 4. This is amazing. I'm just loving everything I'm seeing right now. These kids are playing their heart out.
And if I'm not mistaken, not to interrupt you, but if I read correctly, there's no McDonald's All-Americans on any squad right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. These kids are balling out their mind. They're playing, exceptional ball at the right time. It's just when you get hot. I mean, you take UConn for example. They haven't lost since February 11th. And
Impressive win against Gonzaga.
yes, exactly. Very impressive win against Gonzaga. And our very good friend is a UConn fan. And
Are you talking about the bald-headed Cambodian? He's Cambodian, right?
Mike might be,
He's like the Gilbert Ben Baller.
Shout out to Mike Orbegozo. We love you, man. We love you.
Some of us do.
Yeah. Well, we love you, brother.
No
We love you.
comment.
Scottie Pippen.
So, who's your favorite going into the finals here?
I'll say the team I'm rooting for now, and I got to keep it real. The other episode I was saying, Kansas State and Texas. Texas was, who I was, kind of cheering on and, thinking they could do it. I mean, they lost by 1 point. But I'm rooting for San Diego State. I'm keeping it West Coast. I was a big Gary Fisher fan. This is kind of, even though he's not there anymore, this is still, he's got his imprints on that program. I feel they got jobbed when COVID, well, everybody got jobbed, we'll talk about that later too, on COVID. But
Did you say jobs or jabbed?
whoa. People are angry right now in the comments. But no, I just think that they were going to make a run in the tournament. We were going to see what they're going to do. So this is amazing to me to see, because that tournament didn't happen, to see this. Now, it's not the exact same squad, but I still think the sentiment for that school is amazing. So for them to get there, I mean, all these teams, like we said, except for UConn, and I mean, you can't knock what UConn does because they do that. I mean, they won 4 titles, right?
Right.
But I'm rooting for San Diego State. I do think they have a really good chance. To me, they have the best defense out of everybody that's still out there. They protect the perimeter and the 3-point shot. So it's going to be who's hot and who has a hot hand. I like them a lot, but any team has a chance to win. And I agree with you on the sentiment. I probably do think Connecticut wins it, but I don't like the thought of it because of our friend.
I'll never hear the end of it.
Right. Oh, at least for the next.
And we still got to hear about his spinners and his Yukon Denali that you remember when you banked the tire back in Tucson? Wasn't that you?
Wasn't me. You said what?
Oh, okay, Shaggy.
That wasn't me. Definitely wasn't me. Who you got, Nick?
I mean, I hate to say it, I do think UConn's going to win it all. I'd like to see Florida Atlantic, just because it would be a crazy story, and you never heard of this crazy outside team that nobody's really followed or heard a lot about just come in and win it all. I think that would be probably the most exciting to see. But I think UConn's going to win it all, unfortunately.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I really want to see Florida Atlantic win it all. I'm definitely rooting for you guys. UConn is just strong, man. I got to give it to them. They're balling right now. I mean, they play collectively, as a unit, the way basketball is supposed to be played right now, and they are They are stacked from top to bottom. But hey, I do gotta say, Florida Atlantic does have this 7-footer. Go straight through him. I'm telling you, play through him. You got a chance to win. I mean, the dude's legit. I ain't seen a 7-1 dude like to move like that in a while. He's definitely doing his thing. But funny thing on UConn, I don't know if you guys heard, but they left the Luxor. Luxor was so dirty and so nasty.
World famous Luxor?
Yeah, it was so dirty and so nasty. Had cockroaches coming out, throw up, trash everywhere. They checked into the hotel and checked right back out. Luxor's going downhill. I mean,
damn, I remember when Luxor was the spot. In fact, that was Tupac's last. That was like the baller spot in '96 when Tupac stayed there before, during the Tyson fight. Right. His last time in Vegas. Man, I remember Luxor, the pyramid, right? The light on the top of the pyramid.
It was just so crazy. I mean, the Luxor was the first hotel when I turned 21. Was able to go to Vegas. When I turned 21, I went straight to Vegas.
Was it in the '80s?
Hey, hold on, bro. I ain't that old. I ain't you, Father Time. Slow your roll. This is when I was going down to school down in Tucson. I hopped on at the time Frontier Airlines, and headed down to, that's all you could afford.
On the La Bamba plane?
That's all you could afford at college, But no, they upgraded me to first class. Flew down to Vegas. I was already tanked before I got off the plane.
I had a real quick question. Hey, what's first class on Frontier like?
I think you get 2 natty lights with your flight.
Yeah,
and a seatbelt.
At the time, you did get 2 bags of peanuts,
Cool, I'm just curious.
Yeah. But no, we got down there and checked into the room. They actually upgraded us into the jacuzzi suite. And at the time, this thing was beautiful. I mean, beautiful room. Everything was brand new. It was an excellent experience. So to hear the story, about UConn, leaving, I'm like, damn, they've gone downhill. So,
well, I'll tell you this: I've got a lot of history with the Luxor too. It was my first jacuzzi room in a hotel, thinking I'm doing it big, big papa, cheese steak, what eggs and Welch's grape. Your friends can be my friends. We can do this every weekend type kind of shit. That's how I felt when I was in the tub, my bubbly,
Right.
And then, don't get me wrong. And I even went back there, we'll talk about it later, when I was in the clothing game, because the clothing seminars, the clothing conventions are always there every August and every February. Okay. So, you got Magic Show, the Worldwide Clothing Show, and then also the Agenda Show. Okay. And so for a while, we'd step in the Luxor, and I would get the jacuzzi suite every time. And then you start realizing one time, I think the last time I got that suite was probably 2016 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, the TVs are still the same from when I got it in 99. Like they got the cabinets, looks like the back corner ain't been dusted. Now the little shade that used to go down on the angle don't go down anymore. It's broke, I said it's broke.
I said it's broke, damn it.
But so yeah, no, and the other thing too that's crazy as shit to me is I remember when, for everybody that's been on the Vegas Strip, you got a north side and a south side. The crappy side of the Strip used to be where the Stratosphere was and the Circus.
Yep.
Speaking of Circus, I've never seen a casino with shopping carts. It was like an old-ass Kmart.
Right? It's like an old-ass outlet mall.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Felt like I was in Tijuana. Seriously. Chiclets. People selling hot dogs with bacon on them.
Right. Hey, they don't knock them.
They're good shit.
Hot dogs are good.
I ate some,
especially at 2 a.m.
I ate some too. Yeah. And but now it looks like the other side of the Strip is where we're like kind of worse almost. For various reasons. But look, you got the Luxor, which is decapitated basically.
Right.
And then, by the way, last time I was in the Luxor, and I know the elevators go to the side, but that shit looked like it felt like it wasn't going to work. It was going to drop. And then you ever been drunk going back to your room, almost feel like you're going to fall over the edge?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Yeah, I know.
I'm afraid of heights as it is. And but now you got the end of the Strip is the Luxor, the Excalibur,
right,
which looks like a busted dollar store food court. And then
reminds me of the Renaissance Festival.
Right? Wow. And then you don't really start getting anywhere to New York. And I don't know if that's saying anything, but at least they got a roller coaster.
Yeah, I think New York is kept up a little bit. You still got Mandalay Bay down there, and that's it's hanging on for dear life. But I mean,
I was gonna say something, but I can't. I can't.
yeah, non-disclosures. We got
Yeah.
exactly. But Greedy Nick, you
I've never actually stayed at Luxor, but I do have a funny Luxor story. We were there. I was there with Mitch and some people for the clothing show. This is probably mid 2010s.
Is that the one when we went to the LAX party?
Yeah, we went to the LAX party.
Kids, two in the shirt.
Two in the shirt. Shout out to them. Great clothing brand back in the day.
What's up, Fubs?
For the streetwear. But we it was like 3 a.m. We come stumbling out the club. We run into Jared and Brandy from Storage Wars. They're in there, and we took some pictures. We actually took some pictures with them earlier. We saw them up, said what up to them.
We're like, you're Greedy Nick.
Yeah, they knew who I was. No, but so we're sitting down at this blackjack table. And it's like 3 a.m. There's like maybe 10 people in the whole casino gambling, and the dealer at the blackjack table just starts giving cards to us. So she's tipping off the next card out of the shoe. Like, I have 16 and the dealer has a 4, and she's just flipping the next card over and giving it to me before I can even say hit or stand. And a 4 pops down and I hit 20, and then she hits and she busts. So she was like checking the cards underneath the next card coming out the shoe and tipping everybody off at the table. So we all started betting for her, and she kept doing it more and more. And I mean, we played blackjack for maybe 20 minutes there. I won like $600, $700 at the time. That was, that was decent money because I didn't gamble that much. And won like $600, $700 in like 20 minutes. And we all checked out the table. She probably walked away with like $200-$300 in chips at 3 a.m. But I don't know. They didn't have security or nothing, or they weren't checking the cameras that night. Maybe the camera systems don't work in there, but we got away. We got a nice little grip out of there and dipped out. So that was the one time in Luxor that I actually hung out in there and gambled and actually had a good time. So
well,
Hey, you think she still works there?
I don't know. I got to pay rent, so I might need to get there soon.
we need to find that out quick.
Definitely. Hey, so you got that story, right? Let's switch this up real quick. Let's just do Vegas stories, because Vegas. Everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's on the 2 on the 10 podcast.
Gosh, oh my gosh, my mom watches the show.
Nah. Hey, for real. You let your mom watch the show?
Yeah. You?
Hell no, bro. My mom doesn't even know I drink. And I gotta say that she picked me up on my DUI.
That's what I was about to say. Bullshit. But nah, man. Really? Favorite? Okay. Listen, we got to go there. I got to tell it. This is about 5 years ago. I mean, this is probably, the stars. Let me put a disclaimer on it. The stars, the moon, the quasars just aligned.
Sound like Elroy Jetson and shit.
Yeah. That's why we're blasting off. So I go to Vegas. I'm going to leave names out here to protect the innocent
and the guilty, and the more guilty.
Yep. So I go to Vegas 5 years ago with my girl and 4 of her girlfriends, and
only 4 extra.
Yeah, it was
traveling light.
I had a suite up in Caesars, but we had a cabana at one of the day parties. So we had got in kind of early. We couldn't check into our room. So I told them I'd stay back and, they go to the day party and, have a good time. So they went to the day party and it got late. I was late checking in the room, was kind of upset, and they were sitting there and got drunk. And they came back into the room, and easy to say is they wanted to make it up to me. All 5 of them wanted to make it up to me for not being able to make it down to the day party, taking care of it. So,
point where they touched you. Sorry.
So needless to say, things popped off. Adult things popped off, which, like I said, it was probably the best time of my life I've ever had.
Sound like Dirty Dancing.
Yes, in Vegas, best time I've ever had in my life in Vegas. But that is the most memorable trip I've ever been on. It was amazing.
You know, you gonna talk about the shower video?
No, I don't even know what you're talking about. Hold on, no, I gotta take a sip on that one. Nope.
Is that your heartbeat there, Paul?
Yeah, right. Oh, none of the girls see this video, but see this podcast. If you do, I didn't say your name. So, but anyway,
Assume it was you, bitch.
but no, listen.
If you want to take another Vegas trip, just hit us up.
Hey, listen. It was memorable. I think all that were involved. But it was amazing. That was the most memorable Vegas trip I've ever had. Because I just got back, and that's what I said. I'm not drinking for a week because I tried to drink myself to death. So
Just so we fully understand, was it more rewarding mentally, spiritually, or physically?
I think it was all of both, because I definitely had a out of body experience, and my soul was sucked out of me.
Pause.
Oh, okay. On to the next. How about you, Mitch?
Man, I got to follow that one up. I do got a couple in my repertoire. Vegas stories. What happens in Vegas is supposed to stay on Vegas, unless it's on the 2 on the 10 podcast. Oh man, which one am I choosing? Let's go with this one. This is a back in the day one. Shit, simpler time. Actually, I stayed at the Luxor.
Okay.
It was jacuzzi time. I was one of those people that if I did get the jacuzzi, I always get my bottles of champagne at Costco, put them in the fridge early.
Right.
Balling. So yeah, no, it was so a couple of my boys from Vallejo back home. They wanted to meet me up. They were like, man, meet us up in Vegas, blah, blah, blah. One of my good friends, Ty, shout out to my boy Ty, Foot Dog. He was just getting in a relationship with his father. He didn't know his father growing up, right? Okay. So he finds out, he just tells me one day out of the blue, I kicked it with my dad. He's cool. He's a pimp in Vegas. I'm like, whoa, Vegas? And he goes, man, we got to come out there, bro. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's figure it out, And so I went out there a few times, but one of the times I went out there, his dad, first of all, he had a girl that had a timeshare at that Ramada. It was like a Ramada condos. Mm-hmm. And I got a few stories of there. Oh, actually, I should have told you this other story, but never mind. Never mind. Well, another day.
Save that for another time.
Anyway, so the Ramada timeshares, they're right behind or right in front of the Imperial Palace. Now, I know that neither of them are there right now, but Imperial Palace, so it went Harris. In the back of that was Imperial Palace, and then in back of that was the Ramada, and then I think down the street was Bally's or whatever, right? And so anyway, just for those of you who know, Imperial Palace was like the fuckboy spot in the 90s, or we used to call it the frat boy spot, same difference, of the 90s. I never stayed at that bitch, but anyway, we go there, we go to Ramada. First night we go, let's go, because it's like a condo, it's like an apartment. And had 2 bedrooms, middle area, and then you had like downstairs, they had little barbecue pits and shit. So let's buy some liquor from the liquor store. So we buy all this shit, for the week or the 3 days, and of course we drink it all that night. You know how that goes. And so my dudes from Vallejo, like they know I like to go to the clubs. Even back home, I always was the dude. I wanted to get out, see everything, go out, hang out.
You were definitely the party dude.
Oh, definitely. Sure. Every club, everywhere, everybody knew I was there. And for whatever reason, most of the cats from my city didn't want to, spread their wings, check shit out. They were comfortable where they were, and I get that, not knocking it. But, if we got an agreement, let's do this, or let me do my thing, because I'm going to go do my thing, solo or whatnot. Sometimes you have more fun solo anyway. And so they're, no, we're going out, we're going cool. I'm like, bro, y'all got to get you got to get your gear right, like you got to get your right shoes, because back then, this is late 90s, before hip-hop was prevalent. We got to talk about this on the show, too, eventually. You remember when Vegas, you used to have to wear like the church pants,
yeah,
click-clack shoes,
yep,
and the button-up shirt,
yep,
and you could not get in the clubs.
Yeah, you had to be dressed to impress.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that was also when, it was half techno. The only rap you were hearing there was probably 5 songs, if I could think about it. It was California Love. Mm-hmm. It was, going back to Cali Big,
right.
It was Will Smith, Miami.
Right.
It was Beastie Boys, So What You Want.
Right.
And then name the other 5th song, whatever. And then all of a sudden Eminem came along, changed the game. And I know I'm not the biggest Eminem fan, but I got the wheels behind him, powers that be, everything else. Got the suburb kids buying the shit, and all of a sudden the dress codes changed. Hip hop's accepted in all these clubs now. Eventually, you could wear jeans. But this was before that, so you had to wear the little click clack shoes. I always brought mine to make sure I went to any club I wanted to go to. These guys did not. So first night we walk around, can't let them in. What if I give you whatever? No, I can't let them in. Strict dress code, cool. Second night, come on, guys, blah, blah, blah. Let's go. All right, we will. We start drinking, whatever. We get kind of caught up. And actually, that day, we're drinking heavy, during the day. There's a condo across the way. A bunch of, like, frat boys, on spring break or whatever the hell they were. And I think we were bumping our music real loud, probably playing some Mac Gray or whatever. And I think they came over to tell us to turn it down or some shit. This dude that I didn't even know him that well, crazy motherfucker out of Vallejo. They called him the White Suge Knight. Anyway, he kind of got aggravated that these, in his mind, corny motherfuckers were going to tell him to turn shit down. So he goes to the kitchen and grabs like a big ass butcher knife, like the one that Michael Myers holds.
Right.
And he goes straight over to their door, starts knocking on their door. Because we didn't answer. He goes over there, he knocks on their door. They're in the room, and he's waving the knife at the window. Open the door, open the door. And I'm like, Ty, grab your boy. Who the fuck is this motherfucker? This dude's crazy as shit, And come to find out, 2 weeks later, he gets in a fight with somebody who pops 3 caps in the back of the gas tank.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this dude ain't playing, right? Anyway, well, thankfully, nothing happened. That's, my city for you. And anyway, so I'm trying to get this dude to get shoes. I'm like, bro, can we get some shoes for the fucking club so I can go out?
Because you haven't gone to the club at this part. You haven't gone to the club.
We're drinking like a motherfucker.
Right.
And we're kind of hanging around.
Okay.
I'm not in hanging around. I want to be in the action. I want to dance. I want to talk to chicks. I want to,
Right.
And so I'm like, bro, we can go to Walmart. Hey, bro, what's the issue? If I pull my side, I go, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I'm starting to get pissed off. I don't care. We can fight. I don't give a fuck. Let's go. I go, but what's the issue with the shoes? Oh, no, bro, Mitch, come on. I got you. I go, bro, we can go right now. I'll buy you whatever shoes you want. Let's go. Because you're fucking up my time. You're on my dime. I don't get weekends, I was hustling back then, like in my card store. I took the weekend off. My store was closed, So I'm like, bro, come on. And then, and so it's the third night now. Motherfuckers still don't get shoes. I'm pissed off. But it's like they don't want you to do your shit. Right. They just want to all hang and drink out front.
Right.
It's almost like parking lot pimping, sitting, wait for the club to end, drink your 40s, and then holler at everybody when they come out, type shit. And I'm like, bro. So the only thing that I could even think of that can accommodate us is this, at Harris, there's this outside carnival, what it was called. And there was a dude singing when we walk in named Cookie Jar.
Cookie Jar?
Yeah. The shit looked like The Wedding Singer. The shit looked like the scene from The Wedding Singer. The dude singing all 80s and early 90s and, whatever. But, there's some rhythm. People are dancing and shit. And people that know Vegas will know Cookie Jar and they will know Carnival at Harris, right? So I'm sitting there. I'm pissed off. I'm in a bad fucking mood. I'm like, man, I'm questioning life. I'm like, man, fuck these motherfuckers, whatever, even though they're my boys from back home, one more than another. And then all of a sudden I see this table and there's the baddest blonde and she keeps looking back, and it's like to the point where you look back, who, Right. And she goes, hey, you come over here. So I go over there, start talking to her. So I'm here from Oklahoma. Oh, that's what's up. I'm from the Bay, by way of Arizona now, Mm-hmm. And so anyway, she goes, we start dancing, kind of show off my, 2-step, whatever, and all them years of dancing back in the Bay at the clubs, did this thing. So she's like, hey, come meet my family. We're here for a family reunion from Oklahoma. So I go meet a few people, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I'm thinking, where's this going? She turns around and goes, I want to go to a strip club.
Oh, wow.
Just me and you. I'm like,
okay.
See y'all later, Vallejo motherfuckers.
Your night just turned around, huh?
And so next thing you know, I'm trying, because this is before Uber. So I'm like trying to wave down any kind of cab. Hey, yo. All of a sudden, this van pulls up. Jamaican dude. Hey, man, where can I take you? We got to go to the best strip club. I got the perfect one for you, man. Oh, cool. You and your girl, let's go. 40 minutes later, we're on some deserted roads. I don't even know where the fuck we're going.
Where do he take you? Down to the dam?
All right. It's a spot in Vegas. Hopefully people heard of it. It's called the Library. I don't even know.
The Library.
It's called the Library in Vegas, right?
I've been to a lot of gentlemen.
I thought you could say I've been to a library before.
But I ain't never been to
Just never
library.
checked out any books.
I've never heard of the library. So you said 40 minutes outside?
Yeah, 40 minutes. Okay. Yeah. I had to pay to do like $60 back then,
Wow.
just to get dropped off.
Wow.
And then so we walk in and we're sitting there and, we're just chilling. I'm trying to figure out where this is going. I'm fucked. I'm, just drinking, drinks her, drinks for me, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden she pops up and goes, I'm way hotter than these chicks. Yes, you are, girl. She starts dancing. She goes, here, let me show you. Starts stripping and dancing at the club.
Wow.
All of a sudden, the GM comes running out. Hey, hold on, you can't be doing that. What? We get kicked out.
Oh,
We
wow.
get kicked out. Now I got to get a ride back. So we get a ride back. And another $60-$80 on the way back to this spot that I don't even know where it was at,
So did you go back to her spot or did you go back to your spot?
So come to find out, well, first of all, I was staying at the trap spot. I was staying at the Ramada trap spot.
Okay.
But no. She actually, as crazy as it was, her family had her by herself in a suite at the Caesars.
Oh, okay. There you go. See it goes down at Caesars, bro. That's the spot. It sounds like it goes down at the Caesars, huh? Mitch, you're not commenting on.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Or you tell it on the 2 and the 10, baby.
I ain't no snitch.
All right, okay. Well, you sure you don't want? No. You can't confirm or deny. All right. Well, hey. So obviously you had a good time and stuff like that. Did you guys have breakfast?
Speaking of breakfast, hey, let's go to since we were all over Vegas right now. Hey, let's go to your favorite Vegas food spots.
Famous Vegas food spot.
Your favorite, let's go to.
So my go-to now is probably Salt Bay spot, Naseret. Oh man, so
You're not bougie.
and yeah, I'm quite bougie, bro. But no, if you go there, you have to have the Amore steak. It's, to me, it was one of the best steaks I've ever had.
And you were there this weekend, right?
Yeah, I just got, matter of fact, I just got back from Vegas. That's why right now my liver is hurting really bad. So, it's one of them things where it tells you like, hey, either you slow down or I'm gonna slow you down. So, I'm listening to my liver right now, drinking on lots of water. That's what's in this cup right now.
Your liver's a bitch.
But no, you got to check out Naseret. Naseret is definitely my spot, my go-to spot right now. Like I said,
I'm gonna lie, I have a rule of going to places I don't go to places I can't spell.
it's it's quite pricey, so you may get a little sticker shock, but definitely check it out when you're in Vegas.
Okay. And then
What
let's
about
see.
yourself?
My go-to Vegas spot. I mean, there's so many amazing spots in Vegas. I mean, there's shit like, I was dogging on Circus earlier. There's a steakhouse for some people that don't know in the back of Circus that you need reservations for.
Yeah, it's called The Steakhouse. That's actually was going to be my go-to spot for Vegas is The Steakhouse at Circus.
Go ahead.
First of all, I just went there I've been there many times, but the last time I was there,
How many times were you working there?
they actually have a wait
Bring on the clowns.
to become a staff member there. Most of the staff's been there over 20 years.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
it's world renowned for their
At the
steaks.
steakhouse.
Yeah, The Steakhouse. And
Do you bring a shopping cart in from the front to the back
yeah,
of the
so
steakhouse?
it's like an old school Vegas vibe in there. Everybody that's worked there, like I said, has worked there a long time. They know their steaks. The steaks are amazing. It's just got that old school Vegas vibe feel that you could see, like, the Rat Pack walking in, sitting down having a steak, one of the back tables. It's that amazing.
And it's
Getting there,
it's
going
in the
through
back of the
Circus,
Circus.
going into
I
Circus,
can vouch for-
Circus.
I can vouch for
going
it,
into
yeah.
Circus and getting back there is a little sketchy, but once
you
you're
have to
in,
trust. You have to trust the
once you're
process.
in,
Trust the process.
the ambiance, like I said, old school Vegas. The food's amazing. The service is amazing. They know their stuff, and I highly recommend it. It's the only reason anybody should ever go to Circus is
push a shopping cart.
for The Steakhouse.
And the name of the steakhouse is
It's The Steakhouse.
And you have to get a reservation.
Yeah.
Hey, can we give it up? Can we clap for that one?
Yeah, we can give it up for The Steakhouse.
'Cause people would not believe you if you told that story, and I can vouch for that. No, it's
the
amazing.
Steakhouse. All right.
It's
Hey,
amazing. It's funny as fuck just to be back there after you walk
Listen,
through.
yeah.
After you walk through there.
I go to Vegas at least twice a year, right?
Yep. Well, you gotta go the other side of the strip.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna check out the steakhouse.
You
And
gotta start slumming it. And then all right, let me jump in and say my story of where my number one place to eat in Vegas, and I have a lot of them. I love them, but I want to kind of throw something out there that I think is a whole experience, a vibe, and that's going to be Capo's Italian food. Capo's is a speakeasy. It's about 15-20 minutes off the strip. So it's like kind of if you go, I don't know the directions where we're in Vegas. First of all, I'm drinking all the fucking time. Two, I'm not driving.
Right.
Second of all, so the Uber takes us, whatever. It's about 15 minutes past like where the Palms and like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes past the Palms and the Tropicana. So you know how the other part of the strip, or not the strip, but the other hotels. Yeah, so it's over that side. I remember you pass the Hooters or whatever else. But yeah, so it's you got to get reservations. It's a speakeasy. When you walk in, there's like no doors, and basically you buzz somebody. They open a side door like in the wall, and go, ask for your reservations, and then you have to walk through the phone booth. Open the phone booth to walk through to get in.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and it looks just like it looks. They're trying to make it look like a secret club, Italian club back in the day in New York. They got a piano player. They got like a what's it called, a Frank Sinatra type singer singing around the tables, and then they had a magician that was there, and he did some tricks that I had to ask people, how the fuck do you do this shit? No, for real. Like, the person I was with at the time, so we were sitting there, and so he draws something on his hand, and he goes, okay, hey, put your hand out, and he daps her hand up. She opens her hand, and it's on her hand.
No, you better stop.
I've never seen
you
that.
You better
shit.
stop. And she was with you.
Yes.
Now, did she?
No. We asked. She goes, I don't know. And
Hold
then
on. Did you meet her there?
No. Come on, bro.
No, you did. You brought her with you?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you know this girl.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you got to double check with you.
Whoa.
You picking up randoms,
Whoa. Stranger danger. No.
You pick one up and you took her to the strip club. I just wanted to make sure this is, not one of those stories.
Whoa.
You picked her up and now you're taking her to the Italian.
What was Black Rob's best song? Whoa. No. So, but and then okay, so the music's on par. The magician's crazy. I had to ask the Buster dudes. I'm like, hey, bro, for real, we don't understand how he does a couple of those tricks. We don't know. I'm like, whoa, okay. The food. I remember one time I went there. I kind of go back a couple times. I ain't gonna say nothing else. I had to go back a couple times, and I had the steak there, was really good.
Okay.
The meatball appetizer was amazing. Okay. The chicken parmesan's on point. So definitely worth the experience and also the food.
Okay.
So Capos. Make sure you go there.
Capos. How was the price?
You know what? It was actually right there. I mean, it was from episode 1, I think you consider Olive Garden Italian food, right? Remember?
A little more pricey than that.
Yeah. Just a little bit, but I mean, it wasn't too bad. And tip accordingly, and everything was good.
Okay, you got into something that was kind of on my mind is tipping these days.
Talking about tipping on 404s with Mike Jones song?
No. I'm talking about tipping for service. I've just like I said, coming back from Vegas, it's a hospitality city, so you do tip a lot there. Tips get you a long way. But they do actual services for these tips. I've gone, you come back home and you go to, Subway, you go to Starbucks, and then, you pay for your, whatever, pay for your drink, you pay for your food, and then they also ask you, oh, would you like to tip on top of this? No.
You know what? They have a trained, I'm glad you brought that up. They have a trained line. Tell me if I'm wrong. Every place you pay a card on goes, and then if you don't mind, as they're flipping it over to you, it's just going to ask you a couple questions. No, it's going to ask me one question. It's going to ask me what I want to tip.
Exactly. So what is the etiquette to tipping now? It's like, am I supposed to, are you going to start tipping at McDonald's? You go to McDonald's, Burger King.
Would you like to give a McTip?
Yeah, right?
Get just the McTip.
So, or,
fuck off.
Yeah, right? So what's the etiquette for tipping now?
I mean, shit, it's crazy. I mean, okay, let's start. All right, Uber, obviously, right? I mean, Uber. I mean,
it's a service.
Yeah, it's a service. Yeah, and and depending on how they are, et cetera. The funny part about that shit too is this tipping it's kind of. And I was in the food industry, restaurant industry, so I will always tip. That and other hospitality services. And tip well, just because. But it does infuriate me when people just assume, and I'm just gonna jump and say this, you get an Uber, dude's rude as shit, or woman's rude as shit, they're blasting their music no matter what it is.
Turn the AC on in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
Just keep the windows rolled down.
Yeah. It's like, so I'm supposed to tip on this? I mean, and I do, You know, plus I got to keep my 5.0 rating, or whatever, 3,000 trips. Oh boy,
Oh, look at him. Mhm.
Mr. Uber.
Exactly. Well,
and Lyft.
yeah. Make
But,
sure make sure you take your lifts and your Ubers when you're drinking out there. Tell
Oh, of course, yeah, no, exactly,
Well, Mitch, I always think like they flip that screen around, they ask that question, and you're in line, and then if you hit the no tip, you always feel like you're the cheap ass. It's just like the same at some of these places when they go, "Would you like to round up for so and so charity?" I'm like, "No, I want to pay for my meal and get the hell out of here. I don't need to round up. Like my 12 saints ain't doing nothing for the homeless people and California or wherever we're looking at. Like
Right.
it's whatever charity of the day they pick. And now I'm supposed to give them 12 cents or 38 cents off my bill. Like, yeah, I guess it does add up after time. But at some point it's like, just let me order my stuff and get out of here. I don't need to be harassed for more money and for tips and everything else.
I'll say this: I'm conflicted because like I said, I came from that industry. Obviously, I'm part of me is, hey, if you can afford to go out, especially if you're balling. If you're going to do it on the balling tip, if you can afford to go out, you can afford to make it right.
Yeah.
But in the same token, shit. Here's the other part of it is, especially corporations. Like for example, let's take Subway. We are when we tip there, we are basically bridging what they should be paying their employees.
Yeah.
They're profiting, they're profitable, right? They're very profitable, right? Especially during COVID. Why are we, bridging what they should be paying? And don't get me wrong, I'm an energy person, so it's like if you got that good vibe and you're like bubbly and you throw a couple extra slices of meat on there and all the stuff, whatever. Okay, of course, how am I not gonna? But in the same token, I agree. It's like, man, I really would rather not be put in that situation.
I got you.
Truthfully.
I got you. So, what if you are at a, place where you normally tip, fine dining restaurants, something like that, and you get shitty service? What is etiquette? Are you, as far as for me, regardless on the service or not, I'm still tipping my 20%.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking maybe they're having a bad day, or they're going through some things, and I know that this is how they get paid, and you never know. They could be splitting their tips with, other bussers. I know some service got to, tip out, something like that. So I always tip no matter on the service. Now, I will leave a comment or a review, or I'll talk to the manager about if the
Oh, you're
service,
a Karen, huh? No, I don't even like using that word. I just had to say it.
if the service is shitty, but I'm always tipping 20%. It just, like I said, I'm a generous tipper. It gets to a point, like Nick said, is when I come in, I just want to hand you my $20 bill, get my change and get out, But I don't even like carrying change anymore. So that's why I was like, I just leave whatever it is if they have a tip jar or whatever, and then go about my business. But
Yeah, I understand that, but when you're talking card, it's like they try to get that cash mentality now that everybody's card. Just round up, just drop your change in the tip jar, drop your change in the jar for charity, and at some point it gets old. I'm with you though. I always leave 20% minimum, even if the service is horrible. Yep. A lot of that is not always the server's fault. The kitchen could mess up your order. They could be working way too many tables because there's not enough staff. They could be having a bad day. So I always give 20%. I'd never worked in the food industry, but my sister did, and growing up and seeing, hearing stories about, $85 tables and they left a $3 tip, and they're expecting that because at that time they're making like $2.15 an hour. So every table, the tips count. And if people are leaving $85 and then you got to tip out on that and you only made $3, you could technically lose money on that table going to work. So,
hey, speaking of that, I'm going to jump this real quick. In college, I used to work in the #1 Chevy's in the country, Sacramento River waterfront, right, riverfront. And I remember, I was a server for a little bit before I became a bartender. And I started out as a busser. That was the only job I could get, and I just got in there. They were like, "You were overqualified to work here," because I was managing a sandwich shop. And I was like, "Man, I want to get in here." I heard there's like 150 employees. It's like the party spot. I heard there was like a lot of women that worked there, Mm-hmm. And so I was like, "Man, I'll be a busser. I'll be the best busser you ever seen. Just get me in the door, Mm-hmm. And I was actually. They made me a certified trainer, training people even as a server and later as a bartender, even though I was new. Mm-hmm. I'm training people that have been in the game for years. But either way, so I just remember one time I try and figure out creative ways because if you don't handle it right, you're going to get fired. Because you do represent the business. I remember one time there was this dude and he was trying to floss back in the day, and he's trying to show off for his girl. So he had like $110 tip. He goes, "I'll take care of you, bro." When she's there and she goes to the bathroom, whatever, he tips me, and it's $110, and he leaves me like, I want to say $5, $3 and change. And I'm like, this motherfucker here, fuck this dude, And so they're walking out, and it's a packed area. And just to give you an idea, if everybody's been to Chevy's, this was the number one in the country I don't want to say when, but it was back in the day in Sacramento. There's nothing else to do. After the Kings games, everybody came through. There was a 2-hour, 3-hour wait on Fridays. They did more money than the Times Square, New York, Chevy's.
Wow.
It's one of the only ones there. They did more than the Tahoe one. And so
It's one that's on the river right there.
the river. Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, we went
Yeah, that's right. You took me out there.
Yeah. So,
a dope spot. Check it out.
yeah. So, so what's it called? And so, yeah, I remember he, I looked and like, okay, cool. This dude's saying all this stuff, whatever, running me like crazy, trying to look like a big baller. So I played the part, And he goes, "I'm gonna take care of you, fat bro. Blah blah blah. I got you." Like I said, 375 on 110. So they're calling him. And so I asked my bus, "Hey, where'd he go?" "Oh, he just left a second ago." So I grabbed the 375. I seriously run. Like I run out there, like he's like, 100 yards down. I go, "Hey, excuse me, sir. Hey, I'm sorry you left this on the table." And he goes, "Oh, no, that's for you." And I go, "No, actually, you probably need it more than I do. Here you go."
Ooh.
Down goes Frazier.
Down goes Frazier. And so with that said, and his girl looked at him like, "Oh my God, I can't believe
This embarrassing.
Yeah.
Nah, I used to have to do the same thing. When my father was alive. Rest in peace, Dad.
Yeah, rest in peace.
I used to always have to be on him, like, he was older, because he always be trying to leave a $5 tip, on.
I think that's that older generation. They're used to that, Or it's just I just doubled the tax.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, the tax rate's like 8%. You're not even leaving 20%. You got to go 20%.
And they don't understand that when you clock in and clock out, that 10% is automatically taken. It's assume you're tipping 10.
Yep.
It's assume.
Yep.
So they're taking that off. You're losing money on like, you're truthfully losing money on like a 12, 13, 15% tip,
Right. So I always just have to, be on them. But I know, like I said, that's why I'm always generous about, because like I said, that's just how they live and stuff like that. Man, okay, we've got almost to the end here.
A lot, too.
Yeah. Thoughts of the day.
And let me start this one because what you just said
Okay.
about older people and
Yep.
mentality.
Okay.
It's going to go into what happened to me. Well, I don't want to say older people mentality, but it has to do with an older person.
Okay.
All right. So this happened to me yesterday. All right. So I'm going to lunch. You guys are familiar with Sprouts, whatever, right?
Yeah.
For those who know Sprouts, I don't know if they're around the country or not, but it's kind of like a Whole Foods almost.
Yeah, bougie grocery store.
I wouldn't
Healthy food.
say bougie, but it's
It ain't cheap.
where
Yeah, what grocery store is?
Yeah, where eggs are cheap right now. Anyway, so this Sprouts, because it happens to be in Scottsdale. Anyway, this one does the sandwich section. So they have a special, and I mean, it's actually a damn good deal. It's boar's head meat on a sandwich. For example, roast beef with boar's head cheese, boar's head meat, and avocado, half an avocado, on whatever bread of your choice for $5.99.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that's insane, right?
Wow.
Hell of a
So there's a pretty big line for this. So, I get up to the front of the line. There's an older lady helping me. I've been there a few times before. I've never seen her, whatever. So first thing I always try and do, because I said earlier I was a sandwich maker before in college. I work customer service in industry. I try and pattern interrupt to just stop the dialogue of, us not being human and just going into our jobs. So as the consumer or the customer, I just want to let you know, hey, you're a person. I respect you. Whatever. What I mean? Like I appreciate you. So I stop. I go, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? What can I get you? I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Hey, like I said, it's like if you open the door for somebody, don't expect anything. Do it genuinely, So cool. So I didn't go, oh, F you, whatever, But I just put it in the back of my database, Like, nothing. How can I help you? All right, I'm going to take the roast beef sandwich, blah, 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 this. Cool. Starts making it, whatever. Almost towards the end, she goes to get the avocado. And keep in mind, she's an older lady. She starts feeling the avocado, whatever. She tries to cut it. Seems like it's hard. Pause. And she's trying to cut. And you can tell her hands, like, whatever. It's like, she turns to me, she goes, these avocados really aren't that ripe. Can we, do you mind if we just forgo them? And I'm like, in my head real quick, I'm like, well, that's part of the sandwich, but I understand. I'm trying to be understanding. All right, yeah, that's fine. Whatever, cool. So she starts finishing up my sandwich. The girl next to her, in my opinion, kind of heard that. And, she's in her 30s, not older like this lady, but, in her 30s. And she goes, hey, so-and-so, whatever. So we don't, don't we have fresh avocados in the back? I don't know. I haven't checked. And so for her customer, she goes, I'll be right back, ma'am. I'll go check. I'll go get one for you. So she goes to the back to get her an avocado.
Right.
And even after I said, the other person just puts her head down, just trying to get me out of there,
Right.
And I'm sitting there starting to feel a type of way for a second. So you knew they're in the back.
Right.
Or, you know where they're at.
Right.
Didn't check. Don't really give two shits. Just, hey, can you pass on this,
Right.
All right. The other person goes, oh, I'm going to go do my job and go get one for my client, right? Or my customer.
Right.
Okay, cool. So I get my sandwich. So now I'm kind of feeling the type of way. So I sit there and I go, okay, well, since I didn't get avocado, do I get any kind of a discount on the sandwich? Oh, no, because it's Boar's Head. And now part of me real quick is like, you bitch. No, but I didn't say that, but in my head. Yeah,
was in your
you
head.
bitch you. But no, for 1 nanosecond, that's what I thought. Second of all, I was going to be petty and go, okay, let me ask you this. If I bought this sandwich and I wanted that avocado, what would you charge me? But I didn't go there because that's how it works,
Mm-hmm.
And I just ate it. I go, Midge, come on, she's an older lady, probably having a rough day, like you were talking about earlier.
Right.
Bite your tongue. And you guys know me.
That's-
And don't get me wrong, 15 years ago that wouldn't have happened.
Right.
Now, I'm spiritually different, but it's still tough for me. If it was a younger person, it would have been problems. There was a furniture movement.
You would lit into him, huh?
Yeah, I'd have been like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Hold on a second. You're not going to go try and, what, you think I'm some second-class citizen?
Right.
Whatever. So anyway.
So you gave her a pass because
Yeah.
she was older. That's
Yeah.
what you're trying to say.
She was older, and truthfully, I respect my elders, and I really didn't want to cause any. I didn't want to make her day. I didn't want to be the person that made her day worse.
Gotcha.
Regardless of deservingly, not deservingly, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna shut up and go here. And it was tough for me to do. You guys know me.
Yeah.
Right.
It was tough for me to eat that and walk over there. And I mean, it's $1, it's 50 cents, whatever it was, whatever it wasn't.
It's with you, Mitch. It's always about the
It's
principle.
principle. It's just always principle. It's like I'm not any better, but I'm definitely not any worse.
Yeah.
So why are we, playing all this? And so anyway, I didn't say anything. And I went to the checkout and cool, whatever, it was done. So I guess my thought of the day is, have patience with the elderly, or the older. And
Shout out to my mom and dad.
yeah.
Well, aren't you?
Patience with them.
And
Aren't you elderly?
What's elderly to Mitch? Was this
Exactly.
lady in her grave or 1 foot in the grave?
I thought bitch has his AARP.
I didn't know dead bitches could make sandwiches.
well, listen, these dudes. And so can I finish my point, please?
Yeah. You remember?
Yeah. And
Mitch,
I'll-
we're on a podcast.
And so my point, I guess, is, definitely have your patience, definitely respect your elders, and definitely, try and be the bigger person. Unless they're younger, then fucking punch them in the throat. That's my point of the day.
I hear you. It's kind of on the same lines. We're talking about karma. So my thing is, I don't have a story for that. Not today. My thing is like short and sweet. Is give what you want back. So if you go out there and you want some visceral shit back at you, then give it to it. Because you're gonna get it right back. But most of the time, if you smile, you're having a good time, you're gonna get that. Even if someone's having a bad day, or even if the so-called Karen is having a bad day, my mom always tell them, kill them with kindness.
Yep.
And it kills people that want to be mean when you're nice to them. It is something innate in them that they have to take it down. A couple of
Pause.
lessons. Yeah.
Pause.
Yeah. Essentially. So just put out in the world what you want back.
And if it don't work, punch them in the throat.
Yeah, that too.
You know what's crazy about you talking about putting things out in the world? I really think we're living in an alternate universe because I've been looking into this Mandela effect stuff.
You've been looking to man what? A
Mandela effect.
What man? What's his name?
Like, hey, you know the movie Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
You know that famous phrase where he's like, hello, Clarice?
Right?
He never said that. Never been in the movie.
What?
Yeah. Star Wars, Luke, I am your father.
Uh-huh.
Never says that. He says, I am your father. He never says Luke.
Did you say that?
He says, Luke, I am your father. He doesn't say that. He actually just says, I am your father.
Oh, okay.
So there's like all this stuff that I remember. Like, what color is chartreuse?
Chartreuse.
Depends on what I've been drinking and eating the night before.
What do you think it is?
Um,
What do you remember it being?
red?
What I flushed down the toilet?
What do you remember it being, Mitch?
What?
Chartreuse. What color?
What the hell is chartreuse?
The color. Like most people remember it as like a red, right?
Yeah, red. Yeah,
It's
what I said.
green.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And there's so many of this stuff out there. The more I look into it, the more I really think that we're living in an alternate reality now, and somehow with maybe the Hadron Collider or something.
Oh, so I'm gonna blame CERN. Fuck
Yeah,
CERN.
CERN, something.
And if you're
has
down with CERN,
caused-
fuck you too.
something has caused the reality to split because there's so much stuff I remember from my childhood that now I look back and it's not how I remember it. It's
Interesting.
pretty
Do you think
crazy.
maybe you got a little retarded?
That could be too. I might be getting a little old. You know a little bit about that, but if you have time, look into Mandela Effect. Look at some of the stuff and comment about what you think and which ones you find crazy because there's some stuff out there that just blows my mind.
Mandela effect.
Pause.
All right. Sounds good. I'm gonna check out, and I'm also gonna check out Star Wars. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm gonna go back and check that out. Man, it's been another great show. I want to thank you.
Two.
Yes. I want to thank you both. You guys tune in next week. We got another good show for you. Night.